Well, hello. My name's Mark Buchanan, and I've been a Christian for about 62 years. And in that time, I've done a lot of work with churches in this country and around the world. I've done street evangelism, I've done door-to-door evangelism, I've done church planting, church leading. We've run conferences in lots of countries all around the world. I even spent 12 years smuggling Bibles into the Middle East. And in the course of those things, I've regularly come up against what we call the spiritual realm. And it's important that we as Christians know how to deal effectively with that spiritual realm. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. And we'll probably do another video in about a month's time. So when we talk about spiritual warfare, what we really mean is understanding and using the authority that the Lord Jesus has given us. Now, all of us, all of you, have been given a measure of authority by the Lord, and it's then up to us to learn how to use that effectively, and the more effectively we use it, the more authority He'll be able to give us. And in this particular part of the series, we're going to talk about the idea of purity, which is how we deny our enemy access into our lives. When we're pure, the devil can't really do much to us. But if we live an impure life, we're just asking for trouble and making it easy for him to get in the way and spoil the destiny that the Lord has got mapped out for us. So we could put it like this, if you like, that waging spiritual warfare without submitting your heart, your mind and your body to the Lord is about as useful as tackling a warehouse fire in your pajamas. How long do you think you would last? You'd have no protection. See, purity makes us safe. And that's the most important thing. So before we get into angels or demons or the heavenly realms or how all of that works, we need to operate from a safe place so that we can be effective. So to start with in all of this, I want to think about 3 dimensions of you and me. And those are, first of all, our body. So our body is the bit of us that turns wishes into actions. And it's also the home of what we call instinctive behaviours. And we'll talk a bit more about those in just a moment. And then there's our heart, or sometimes it's described as our soul. But it's where our emotions live. It's where our humanity is. It separates us from the animals. And it's what makes it easy for other humans to attach to us. And then there's the whole area of our mind, our intellect and our will. And that's doing 2 things really. It's trying to decode the world around it and understand it. And then based on that understanding or sense of understanding, it then makes choices about what we will do and what we won't do. So let's just home in again on this part of us, the body. So we mentioned instinctive behaviours a minute or 2 ago, and those are things like breathing or blinking or swallowing or the fight or flight mechanism that happens when we get scared. Nobody has to teach us how to do any of those things. It's in our DNA. Everybody can do it. We're just born with it. Then there are learned behaviours. So let's say you've never ridden a bike before and you want a bike for Christmas. Somebody's going to have to teach you how to ride that bike. And your mind is going to start sending commands to various bits of your body, how to push the pedals, how to steer the handlebars, how to squeeze the brakes. Those are learned behaviours, and that's very much about our mind telling the body what to do. And then there's reactive behaviours. These are behaviours that are not necessarily triggered by our mind. Perhaps they should be, but for a given stimulus, we will respond in a certain way. So if somebody comes up to us in the street shouting and waving their fist at us, probably we're going to respond in the same way. And it's not a decision of ours to do that. It's a reaction to the behaviour of others. Or if there's a boy or a girl that you've really fancied for ages and all of a sudden they come up to you and get really close to you and wrap their arms around you, then you may well go in there for a bit of a kiss. Well, that's triggered by their behaviour. It's not purely a decision of your own will. So your will can be involved, and in a lot of cases it jolly well should be involved, but often there's just actions that we take purely because somebody or something has done something to us. So we've got instinctive behaviours, we've got learned behaviours, and we've got reactive behaviours. So let's just have a little think about this. Let's take a bit of time and think about which of those three types of behavior do you think is the easiest for you to control and which is the hardest for you to control. So put them in a rank where 1 is the easiest and 3 is the hardest. And then when you've had a little bit of thinking time about it, turn to the person next to you, or you can get into a little group if you want, and just chat for a few minutes. Why did you rank them in that way? Why do you think that one of those types of behaviours is easier to control than the others? So don't take too long on this, but just have a bit of a think about it. Which is the easiest and which is the hardest for you to control?